UW360 is proudly supported by Pacific Office Automation, copy, print, workflow, and IT. Problem solved.
Today on UW360, a technological breakthrough. Imagine being able to store millions of documents and images in a tiny speck of DNA. UW researchers say it's not just science fiction, and they'll prove it. Then, from futuristic to historic, UW Library's painstaking work to preserve our literary past. And speaking of history, do you know which building on the UW Seattle campus is considered the most historic? The answer will probably surprise you. Plus, open wide, we'll visit the UW School of Dentistry and its program that's just for kids. Hi everyone, from the University of Washington, I'm Carolyn Douglas. Welcome to UW360. Seattle prides itself on being one of the most literary cities in the country, and the 13 libraries on the UW Seattle campus contain more knowledge, books, and archives than many entire city libraries. Their books are handled and read each and every day, year after year. So what happens when some of those precious books need repairs? The skilled staff in the UW Library's Conservation Department shows us.
Old or rare books are important because a book is a tool for delivering content. While you can experience that content on a screen, you can't experience the history in the same way as you can when you have an artifact in front of you that was in the time, in the place, is connected to the thing that you're researching.
So the libraries have been conserving and preserving materials since the 1920s when the Suzzallo Library opened. Preservation and conservation is responsible for the care and handling, along with the rest of the library staff, of those materials.
So my specialty is with rare books, but conservation serves all materials that exist in the library collections. That includes newspapers and photographs and books and scrolls and broadsides and maps. Without some measure of intervention, we can't allow individual researchers or users to handle the objects, which impedes on their experience with the objects from a research perspective. I think for students, when they're looking at an old book or they're using an old book, they recognize that it's 500 years old, and they're thinking about that time, and they're thinking about what it must have been like for a person to read a book like that.
We got the space in the Mindery in the 1960s. In 2012, when the Mellon Foundation approached us and asked us if we were interested in applying for a grant or a gift for a senior conservator position. Part of the reason why they asked us to apply was because there's not that many conservators in the Pacific Northwest.
Conservation requires flat space. Having a new lab with a lot of space allows us to do more work in a more efficient manner, and definitely in a safer manner for the objects that we work with.
The new Conservation Center will serve as a regional center. In some ways that the library has served for a long time as the largest research library in the region. A lot of our colleagues will contact us for assistance. The Conservation Center will allow us to do that.
Preserving those materials, it helps us to tell our histories, to tell our story, to preserve those cultural artifacts and those memories. Really, that's what it's all about, is preserving those memories over time.
It's a fascinating side of a library that most people never get to see. But if you would like to view some of those artifacts in person, you can visit any library in the UW system. They all welcome public visitors. Still ahead on UW360, imagine storing all that library data and more on something so small you can't even see it. That's the goal of UW researchers, who say that DNA may hold the key to unlimited data storage. They'll show us next. Plus, we'll introduce you to the only building on campus registered as a National Historical Site, and it's probably not what you're thinking. And later, meet the UW men's basketball record-setting forward who hails from Africa, speaks 5 languages, and could be a key to a successful next season. We're on the court with Malik Dime as UW 360 continues.
The following UW 360 story is made possible by the generous support of BECU. BECU, more than just money.
Welcome back to UW 360. It's a rapidly growing problem, where to safely store our endless amounts of digital data. There just aren't enough sprawling data centers to keep up with all our baby pictures and financial transactions and funny cat videos. But now UW scientists have partnered with Microsoft researchers to develop a technique that could solve the world's digital storage needs and transform computer technology as we know it by storing digital data in a DNA molecule.
So this is where we put the DNA in.
Deep in the heart of this campus laboratory, UW scientists and researchers are hard at work transforming technology as we know it.
It's actually very exciting to be working on this project. It's taking science fiction and bringing it to reality.
It does sound like science fiction, discovering how to store millions of digital images, videos, and documents in one speck of DNA. But that's exactly what this team is doing.
The world is producing a lot of information, and we need a way, we need to develop technologies that would be able to store all that information.
Professor Ceze and his team are among the first in the country to demonstrate how to encode, store, and retrieve digital data using manufactured DNA molecules.
Nature has evolved this fantastic molecule called DNA to store information. Normally, DNA stores information about life, genes, and so on. But there's nothing that says that you can't use the molecule to store other kinds of information.
DNA is nature's perfect storage device, incredibly durable and fantastically dense. One speck of DNA can easily store millions of digital images, perfectly preserving them, which means the space needed to store today's digital data could shrink from the size of a warehouse to the tip of a test tube, potentially rendering data storage devices obsolete, transforming technology as we know it.
Microsoft's very interested because DNA is very dense. It's also very durable. And so we can use that to store much larger volumes of information eventually, when we can really prove that this technology can be used for storage.
There's no clear path to continue improving the basic technologies of good computers. So finding new ones is definitely an important and interesting goal. And the fact that nature has developed some that we can just borrow is very, very, very exciting.
The team driving this technological breakthrough contains an impressive mix of scientific minds, computer scientists, electrical engineers, biologists, and biochemists, all working on the cutting edge of what could be the next major technological advancement in our world, blending biology with technology.
We thought it was going to require a few tries, but on the first time we decoded the data, we read the data, we could actually read the files bit by bit, the way we had encoded. So that was super, super exciting.
It's interesting that we have these areas here.
Now they'll concentrate on the challenges ahead, like working to manufacture and to read DNA more quickly and inexpensively, to help them get to the next level of storing warehouse-size amounts of digital data, safely preserving our endless stream of photos and videos and documents for a lifetime.
You'll be able to keep producing a lot of pictures of babies, cats, and family videos, and you're going to continue producing a lot of information. We'll find a way of storing it and preserving it for a long time.
That research was funded by Microsoft, the National Science Foundation, and the David Nakin Endowed Graduate Fellowship. Team leaders hope to make that technology a reality for the general public within a decade, if not sooner. Okay, from digital data to dentistry. Many of us dread a trip to the dentist, but the UW School of Dentistry is working to change that starting with the youngest patients. UW360 producer Terry Murphy takes us to the Center for Pediatric Dentistry.
Good job. We want children to have a good experience in the dental office, and one of the main reasons we want them in early is to prevent disease, but also to teach them that going to the dentist is fun.
Promoting oral health and having fun happen every day at the University of Washington Center for Pediatric Dentistry.
They treat me kindly and gently.
At the Center for Pediatric Dentistry, parents find a warm and welcoming place, a place where children come first.
There we go. Let's go brush your teeth, okay?
So when parents come here, what they need to know is that we really care about children. We want what's best for them. We want it to be a good experience. We would like them to never get a cavity, period.
It's not a place to be scared of. It's a place to have good people care for you and care for your teeth.
Early childhood oral health is exceptionally important. I always say that first dental visit before the first birthday is the most important dental visit of one's life.
Take a look right at the back of those teeth. Nice.
There's nothing to be afraid about because it's not scary.
The center serves children from every segment of our population, including those with special needs.
We see it as a critical part of our role to care for the underserved and patients with special health care needs.
Children receive extraordinary support and treatment tailored to their individual needs.
Good job. All done.
Every child with autism is different. And so what we try to do is we try to make some supportive accommodations to help them get through the dental visit. The care that we do for children with special needs, that's just one of the things that we do. We also do very complex dental treatment for children who have dental anxiety, significant amount of sedation, general anesthesia, orthodontic treatment.
We are instilling a message of hope and improved health.
We feel like we really provide a great safety net for these patients, and there's almost no service that we don't provide here. As far as I know, we may be the only pediatric dentistry clinic in the country that offers social work services to our patients.
At the University of Washington Center for Pediatric Dentistry, dedicated dental providers work together with one goal: excellent oral health for every child who comes through these doors.
That's my job, is to be able to get a child to come in to actually enjoy the dental experience and to become a lifelong dental patient.
The boys love coming to the dentist.
The Center for Pediatric Dentistry began as a vision, and now it's working in real life. And our vision is to promote the best oral health possible for all children.
The center is open to anyone who's under the age of 18. Still ahead, the UW is steeped in a rich history, but only one location on campus is federally recognized as a historical site. The answer might surprise you. And we'll meet a UW basketball player who speaks 5 languages, has a flair for art, and blocks shots at a record-setting pace as UW360 continues. Welcome back to UW360. The UW was founded more than 150 years ago. Between thousands of medical and scientific discoveries, contributions to both world wars, and the striking beauty of campus, it's hard to guess which building holds the honor of being the only nationally recognized historical site. Austin Siedentopf reports on the surprising answer.
The UW is the oldest university in Washington state, and yet only one building on campus is nationally registered as a historical site. And no, it's not Husky Stadium. Perhaps Suzzallo Graduate Library, a museum, an archive, and in its own way a piece of art itself. No, it's not that either. Okay, it's gotta be Dunny Hall. It's the oldest building on campus. All right, fine, we'll tell you. Introducing the Old Canoe House. Settled on the edge of the west shore of Union Bay, almost lost in the bustle of sailors, rowers, canoers, and traffic headed through the Montlake Cut, the humble canoe house conceals decades of history in the beautiful scenery.
I mean, I had the best memories here last summer, last spring, and so I decided to just bring out my date.
Yeah, it's pretty nice to have a university so close to the water. I think the students are having so much fun.
It was beautiful. It was absolutely beautiful. There's really no other way to describe it. We're so lucky to be here and to have this spot.
The Canoe House has been home to the Army and Air Force in both World Wars, families, university classes, canoe rental businesses, and sailors. It stands as a living memory to all that is water-going at the UW.
I, as a historian, am very happy that the building survived.
Ken Howe is the head fleet captain of the Washington Yacht Club, a sailing program that used to operate out of the Old Canoe House and has taught generations of UW students, faculty, staff, and alumni to harness the wind out on Union Bay.
Well, the city of Seattle saw it as such a visual presence on the ship canal. Being sort of a fixture on it was one of the first things they saw. You know, this is the classic old building on the water.
The Canoe House is partially famous for being a part of UW's contribution to both World Wars. In World War I, the Canoe House was intended to house seaplanes that young pilots would train in. At the time, a canoe builder, George Pocock, got his start working on pontoons for the planes. He would go on to build racing shells in the Canoe House for the famous Boys in the Boat, the crew team that took home the gold at Hitler's infamous 1936 Olympic Games.
These are some of the original red cedar rowing shells that George Pocock built in this building in his small upstairs workshop. And so we are seeing it like it would have been viewed when somebody came down from the workshop and went down to ready a boat. In our sailing program, we still use the famous crew team's wooden lockers as our storage, so we've kept a piece of the history of the famous rowing team in our sailing workshop.
In World War II, Pocock was once again able to contribute to the war effort by putting his workshop to use.
His shop was utilized for making small parts, so it was small construction, but for the World War II war effort. So this was a war factory for a short time in World War II.
There are more stories to tell, and unfortunately too many to tell you here. If you're curious to learn more, get out on the water yourself and become part of the generations of Huskies that have made Union Bay and Lake Washington a part of history.
Canoe rentals are open to anyone, and the club itself is open to UW students, faculty, staff, and members of the Alumni Association. Next up, he's one of the most intriguing basketball players around, who also happens to be setting records for the Huskies. We'll introduce you to senior forward Malik Dime and see how this shot-blocking machine got all the way from Africa to the UW, as UW 360 continues. Welcome back, everyone. Despite being one of the youngest teams in the Pac-12, the Husky men's basketball team is coming off a solid year, earning a trip to the NIT. And next season, the Huskies will return most of the team, including a forward who had a long journey to get here. Aaron Mayofsky has more on the player who brings new meaning to playing in the paint.
He's one of the most talented guys on the floor. He can soar and score and dominate a game by doing his thing in the paint.
I like to take pride of being a Husky, playing for this great program. Coach Romar, he treated just like his own sons, so when we're on each other, we feel like a family, and all we care about is really winning. We don't really care whoever score or whoever do good or bad. We just want to win.
Throws up a lob for Dime. Hammers it down with the left hand.
But there's more to Malik Dime than just winning.
Hey.
How about a little fun?
I've never met anybody like Malik. Malik's starting everybody. He turns on the music, starts dancing, cracking jokes. Like, Malik is honestly the energy of the team. Like, he brings it every day.
Dime at the rim for the two-handed putback jam.
Dime is one of the tallest guys on the team. He stands at 6'9", but when you add his stylish
High top fade, he's about 7'2".
It does give him a little bit more, just a tiny bit. There you go.
It was just 5 years ago when Malik Dime picked up a basketball for the first time. Soccer is his first love.
Malik Dime back in the game.
But now it's all Husky basketball for the Senegal native, who also speaks 5 languages, a skill that helps on the court.
Like in the west part of Africa, some of us speak French, some of us speak English, so when you go to school, you speak the language that you were colonized by. We have the possibility to take Spanish, Arabic, German, Latin, I think Italian, a lot of different type of languages. In English, I like to go just like the legendary Baton will be saying, not today. Spanish, it would be hoy no. French, it would be pas aujourd'hui. In my native language, Wolof, it would be tey du si daw.
After going one-on-one with Malik, you quickly find out why he's so special. He's also an artist, giving new life to old shoes, one pair and one spray can at a time.
I wanted to customize some of my shoes because wearing them over time, I don't like it gets boring now, so I might try to get them to a different color. I use a pen brush and some acrylic paint and just paint it out. A lot of people charge a lot of money to do it.
Do you charge money?
Yeah, but I be charging them super low since they're my teammate. It's time for the dancing dog. maa ngi leen di sant bu baax si li ngeen ma amee fii nii, which means in another world, I'm glad to be here and thank you guys for having me in your show.
Husky basketball begins at the end of October and is expected to be one of the most exciting seasons in years. And that does it for this edition of UW360. If you'd like more information on any of the stories you saw today, just head to our website at uwtv.org/UW360. You'll also find us on Facebook and Twitter. I'm Carolyn Douglas. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time with all new stories from the University of Washington.